Anybody else hear those birds in the beginning, or was that just me? Anyway, I've had the game a week. I wanted to share my first impressions. There's going to be 4 categories. The first is maps, the second is weapons, the third is streaks, and the fourth is the prestige process. So let's get right into it. These maps are gigantic. This is the smallest map, I believe. This would be the equivalent of the Nuketown, the Dome, or the Hijacked, and it is not like any of those. It is huge compared to those. All the maps are huge. I've heard it described as being like Battlefield maps. And if you've been on the castle map, it absolutely feels like Battlefield. It's huge. But what it has, and what I've gotten used to, is the fact that it has different alleys, different hallways, different tight corners. Every single map has tight corners, hallways, different levels. It's got the game for every type of weapon. It's got the sniper game, the marksman game, which I like that new class. It's got the AR game, which is the majority of the players will play with an AR. It's also got SMG and, yes, even shotgun, riot gear, and the all-annoying knifey guy. So I understand the maps better, and I see that there was a lot of thought put into the design. And another thing I like about them is that the hotspots are not predetermined, like in Domination. In so many maps, Domination is, they determine where the hotspot is, and that's where they put B. That's where they put the B down. It's not the case on these maps. The hotspots actually, now this center area is a hotspot, and it might even be the main hotspot, but it's not the only hotspot. These maps are very adaptable based on how you play with your team and how your team plays against your enemy. You're going to bring the hotspot to different parts of the map, and actually here's where we've evolved, and the battle comes over here to this side for a while. And I guess that's what I like about the maps this way, is that they can adapt. The maps are adaptable based on how the teams play against each other. So I really like the maps. I didn't like them at first. I thought they were huge. I didn't like the levels, the different levels and all that. But I really do like them. I think they play well. I think there was a lot of thought put into them. And I think these are the type of maps that will not play the same every time. It's not going to be like Hijacked, where you're spawn trapping, they're spawn trapping, or you're all fighting over the middle. These are probably maps that can last a year, last that whole cycle. So the maps, the biggest thing I wanted to talk about, because it was the biggest complaint I heard, but it may be the biggest asset of the game, and the longevity and the ability to last that cycle. Second thing, weapons. I don't feel like there's any drastically OP weapon, and I don't feel like there's any drastic duds. If you remember, MW3 had, I think it was a PM9 maybe, that was kind of like the dud and the joke, and if you really wanted to prove yourself as an ultimate pub stomper, then you got a Moab with a PM9. I think that was the PM9 anyway. I don't feel like this has the dud. It doesn't have anything like the target finder or anything too OP. Now, will there be nerfs and buffs? Probably, yeah, but there's nothing drastically horrible about the weapons at this point. Same thing with the streaks, the third category, streaks. I like the streaks. I like the balance. I like the fact that the support streaks aren't going to determine the game. They're not so lethal that they will determine the game. They are probably true support streaks. Even though there is a little bit of lethal in them, I think they're true support streaks in that, like I say, they're not going to determine the game, but they're going to help the game. They're going to help your team out. I like the specialist setup. I like the way they changed it. I like the fact that they broke it out into more perks, and I like the fact that they assign the values and you have to make some decisions. You don't just get everything. And I guess the reason is because the God mode thing, it can almost be OP, And when somebody's get specialist, and they have to be really good to be this way, but when really the best players get specialist against you, and you feel like they were actually invisible until you die. You know, you can't hear them, you can't see them. They move so fast, and it just gets crazy. But I don't think that Infinity Ward had to equalize the casual gamer and the good gamers with the use of streaks and OP weapons, so that's a good thing. The prestige process, I love the fact that I don't lose my perks and my attachments without the ability to buy them back with my squad points. That's awesome. Overall, love the game. I think it's a great next chapter of Call of Duty. Can't wait to put out more videos to help us average gamers improve. So until next time, here's to bridging the gap.